Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin. Your live Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
All right, good Friday evening to you. Hope everybody's doing great this evening. Sorry about the intro getting a little messed up right there, but hopefully we don't get too messed up tomorrow with the wind. We're tracking winds gusting over 40 miles per hour tomorrow. Frequent gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour should be expected. On our Saturday here, we're tracking gusts in some cases over 50 miles per hour. There will be a bunch of outages tomorrow. And looks like we'll see improvement late in the day. Sunday's the pick of the weekend. We'll have a lot of sun. Temperatures look comfortable as well. Mid to upper 70s make an appearance. So folks heading out and about on Sunday, that's your 2 thumbs up kind of day. It looks like outdoor plans are a go. Thanks for joining us tonight on, let's see, Twitter, actually X now, YouTube, Facebook Live, whatever social media platform you're on. Excuse me, you have to bear with me. I'm fighting a little bit of a cold still. I blame the kids going back to school. My daughter brought home a cold about a week ago. So just about the whole family has had it so far, but nothing too serious. We're in good shape, and I think we'll be in good shape tomorrow as well. I would suggest maybe charging up those batteries, perhaps, maybe getting some gas for the generator, do whatever you need to do to prepare for some outages, because wind will be the dominant thing in this forecast for tomorrow. Let's take a look at what we have right now. We had a beautiful sunset. Night sunset a little before 6 o'clock. There it goes. Usually red sky at night. It's sailor's delight, right? Not the case this time around. We're tracking Hurricane Lee, of course. Still I'm not going to say healthy looking hurricane. Lee's looking a little ragged right now, right? I mean, usually you see like a nice circle there in the middle. The clouds are only on one side of the storm right now. I don't know. I think the storm's already transitioning post-tropical here. Hurricane Center says it's going to be tropical tomorrow afternoon. I don't believe it when I see it. It looks to me like it's well underway. It's undergoing that process where it becomes extratropical or post-tropical. That wind field expands, the rain shield expands, and we're going to have what we typically get for nor'easters around here. The winds will be a little bit stronger in some cases, and we're not going to get much rain at all out of this one. This is not a rain event everywhere west of Midcoast, Maine. We're going to talk about that in a moment. So Hurricane Center says max winds are 80 miles per hour, gusts to 100 miles per hour, and Lee has racing stripes on him right now. He is cranking at 20 miles per hour off to the north, so Lee is moving pretty quickly. Let's take a look at the projected track of the storm. It's still expected to go right up into the Bay of Fundy. Look at this. Hurricane Center says tropical storm right here. Just south of Nova Scotia tomorrow at 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be very surprised to see that. It says even a hurricane here. I believe that maybe, but I don't know. We'll get into technicalities right now, but it's probably post-tropical at that point. Hurricane Center says it's post-tropical over here. And all week long, we say we're watching the track. We're watching the track. And let me stress this enough. This is one of those storms where we really, at this point at least, do not have to pay really any attention to the track going forward. It's either going to shift 5, 10, 20 miles. That's not a big deal at all because it's such a wide storm. The wind field is so wide in this thing, and the rain has moved out pretty far from the center of the storm as well. So this is going to be a storm that will bring us primarily wind, and power outages, the dominant feature here, or the dominant hazard, we'll call it. Let's take a look at how this goes down. There it is. It's looking ragged on the infrared satellite picture. It's those green cloud tops, so the colder cloud tops. You see them right there. Let's take a look at how this develops as it moves into our areas. A few things I want to point out in this graphic right here. One, look at the western edge. Today we had pretty low dew points, right? It was nice and dry. Felt like fall for a change, right? You might have woke up this morning and said, wow, it feels like September. That plays a role in tomorrow's weather because all that dry air is eating away excuse me, at the rainfall. So we're not expecting a lot of rain at all. In fact, a good chunk of the day may end up being dry. It's just going to be windy. And there'll be periods of rain here and there, but best chance for heavy and steady rain is probably going to be mid-coast down into down east Maine. So the Hurricane Center says, yeah, it's still a hurricane, 7 a.m. on Saturday. We'll have to see if that's the case. It probably will be. The primary concern is power outages. We'll get frequent gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. I think there will be some peak wind gusts over 50. And waves will be running 10 to 20 feet. So power outages are the number one thing on our headlines here. As it moves up into the Bay of Fundy, it loses its tropical characteristics. It goes from a warm core system to a cold core system. Usually in the tropics, you get those tropical cyclones, which are warm core. You have the winds concentrated right around the core, right around the center of the hurricane. As these storms move into northern latitudes, they become extratropical or post-tropical, and they take on the characteristics and physics of our typical nor'easters that we get around here. The difference with this one, winds won't be out of the northeast; they'll be out of the north. So that's generally what happens, and they move a little faster as well. In fact, there's been some reanalysis done. The Great Hurricane in 1938 may not have even been a hurricane when it got to New England, Long Island, Connecticut, and eventually southern New England. It was probably post-tropical at that point because hurricane was moving at 40 miles. We had no way of knowing back then in 1938. So one of the great hurricanes in the Northeast, and this is not one of those. So just to reiterate, we are not getting a landfall of a hurricane or even a post-tropical system here in Maine. We are on the edge of a hurricane becoming extratropical, but that is going to produce its own problems. Wind is going to be the big story, and we'll have some ocean effects, ocean concerns as well, and we'll touch on that in just a minute. But again, rain is not going to be a huge deal. In fact, late in the day, you'll probably see a little bit of sun over western parts of Maine. There's a storm pulling up into the Bay of Fundy, 4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Some of you are seeing bright spots develop, and the wind is starting to lighten up a little bit. If I had to pick a time frame where we're going to get our strongest winds, it's probably late morning and maybe up into central Maine, mid-coast Maine, into early afternoon. So in that window, I think we'll start to see our peak gusts move through. Tomorrow night, things quiet down, and I'll be able to clean things up on Sunday. I got a chance to use the old sun with the sunglasses icon again for Sunday. It's going to be a beautiful day to end out the weekend. All right, so rainfall amounts. This is just one forecast model. Take it with a grain of salt, but we're probably talking about very light rainfall amounts for most of southern and western Maine. Best chance for getting over an inch of rain is going to be mid-coast and down east Maine, particularly from Penobscot Bay points east. So no real changes as far as what we can expect for winds out of this one. I think we get frequent gusts over 40 miles per hour. 40 to 50 miles per hour will do it for most of the area tomorrow. It's a north wind shifting northwest. There's a wind advisory in effect outside of the tropical storm warning. So just about everybody's going to get in the wind and the potential for power outages. I do think we will get some power outages and probably a bunch of them tomorrow. Let's remember, we have leaves on the trees. Not great, right? We have saturated ground. That's not great either. If we were to have winds like this 3 months from now, you get the ground's frozen. There's no leaves on the trees. No big deal. We call that Tuesday. Just about every couple of weeks, we'll get 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. But here we are with leaves on the trees. This is going to be a bit of a problem, I think, tomorrow. Now, a few places I want to highlight where we may have increased issues tomorrow. One, the farther east you are, the closer to the storm, there you're going to have more winds, gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour, especially near Penobscot Bay. Those areas stand the greatest chance, I think, to get up in the upper range of that 50 to 60. Now, even in the 40 to 50, I do think there will be some peak wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. Augusta, I try to nudge Augusta into that 50 to 60 because the airport in Augusta is high up. And Augusta always seems to pull out, at least at the airport, some gusty winds, one of the stronger winds. So I think Augusta will get over 50 miles per hour. Areas with northern exposure with a big fetch. One of those spots, just thinking out loud, Cape Elizabeth down here, because you get that wind that comes in off of the Casco Bay out of the north. So these areas might get a little over 50 miles per hour. Another spot right behind the P here in miles per hour, the south side of Sebago Lake. You get that northerly fetch coming in off of Sebago Lake, the south side of the lake towards Standish, perhaps. You could have more in the way of some outages in that area, especially near the lake, because that northerly wind has less friction to travel over the lake than areas elsewhere. Other areas we're watching, areas in elevation that have a northern exposure to them. So if you live on a hillside, for instance, or a simple one I could think of is even in Portland, you have the Eastern Prom. I think probably one of our reporters will go there tomorrow. But you're up on that hill and you have that exposure to the north. So you're going to get some real gusty winds. So potentially even stronger winds are expected in those areas, places with northern exposure and a place with a good fetch of north winds. And downsloping winds off the mountains. There'll be some spots that get downsloping winds on the east side of the mountains that get over 40 to 50 miles per hour. And I'll be curious to see what Mount Washington does. They'll get up over 100 miles per hour tomorrow. There's no question about that. So we'll be watching that for you, and we'll have all those reports for you as the day goes on here. Let's try to highlight when to expect those strong winds. I think as soon as late morning, I should say early morning, we're already getting into gusts around 40 miles per hour. That's about 7 a.m. And many of you are probably seeing gusts over 40 miles per hour. I don't know if that Rockland one, this is just a forecast model, so it's not going to work out exactly like this. But I think it's a good idea of how it's going to go down. That 60 might be a little generous there, but you get the general idea. I think there will be many gusts over 40 miles per hour early in the day already. And peak gusts probably get going, if I had to pick a time, I'm going to say 11 a.m., somewhere in there, late morning. Many areas will be gusting probably around 50 miles per hour at this time range here. And I think Augusta climbs up. Yeah, there it is, 51 miles per hour up there in Augusta. That's a possibility. They're a little higher up at the airport, especially, and even in the Kennebec River Valley, you can get some interesting gusts down in that region as well. Mid-coast Maine, down east Maine will probably get the strongest winds. So many of you are probably getting your peak wind gusts from central Maine to mid-coast Maine in the early afternoon. This is 2:30 in the afternoon, and it's starting to shift to the northwest, meaning the wind starts north and shifts northwest during the course of the afternoon. The wind starts to die off tomorrow night, and I think we're pretty much in the clear by 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. The wind will be respectable still. It'll be a little gusty, but it's not going to be extreme. I want to talk about some ocean effects, ocean problems tomorrow. Right now, we have buoy wind gusts right around 20 to 30 miles per hour. That's your current wind gust. We're just checking the buoys here. We've loaded into the computer system. Wave heights are very manageable. We're looking at wave heights currently about 5 to 10 feet. They'll be building by morning. We're probably around 10 to 12 feet or so out in the open ocean waters. Jordan Basin buoy coming in with around 20 feet or so. That's 8 o'clock in the morning. Excuse me. And they'll continue to rise or get bigger throughout the midday and afternoon. So here we are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Most wave heights at the buoys, probably 10 to 20 feet. There might be some spots to get some slightly higher waves. Now, areas that we're watching here, the high tide tomorrow, it's 12:47 p.m. So just before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There is a tide that is not running astronomically high, I should say. It's only 9.4 feet. Had a little bit of a surge on it. I just checked out the forecast high tide for Portland. It is 11.9 feet. Now, flood stage in Portland is 12 feet. So we're not expecting significant coastal flooding. That's good news here. It's not like the December storm we had on December 23rd. Minor coastal flooding can't be ruled out in some of the normal areas. You go to Jay's Oyster Bar, you go to, there's a bunch of places. Go to Wells Beach, Kennebunk Beach. You could get some minor coastal flooding in a few spots here. But the bigger story is going to be the splashover and the beach erosion. There'll be a lot of splashover and beach erosion. Now, the way these waves work, the way I understand it, at least anyway, you're going to get the wave action from the hurricane, these long period big swells. But at the same time, you're going to get a northerly component to the wind. And that's actually going to help create these, some people call them rogue waves, these sets of waves where every so many minutes, you're going to get one or two that are a lot bigger than most of the waves. And the reason I bring that up, I know a lot of folks want to go out and check out the waves and go to the beach. It's very important just to be mindful of that. Not to get right down to the shoreline, because it may seem like the waves are just crashing at a certain point, but then all of a sudden there'll be one or two that's a lot bigger and will come a lot farther in. So that's just the way that these waves work in this sort of setup here. So we'll continue to watch that throughout the day, and the waves start to diminish in height during the nighttime hours tomorrow. Now, as we go into the day on Saturday, here we go with Storm Tracker. This is not a rainstorm for most of southern and western Maine. You'll get a little bit of rain, but a good chunk of the day may end up being dry. 7:30 in the morning, we're seeing some of that rain trying to get in here. The wind is out of the north. There it is. It's coming in straight out of the north already with gusts to probably 40 miles per hour. We're in the upper 50s and low 60s. There's the heaviest rain associated with, my guess, post-tropical cyclone Lee at this point. It's really losing its tropical characteristics. It already is this evening. And I don't know. I don't know if the Hurricane Center is going to keep it tropical into tomorrow afternoon, probably just because they have that forecast. But I don't know. They seem to do that sometimes, I've noticed. But I think it's already starting to become post-tropical at this point. And it probably will be by by morning or early afternoon. Either way, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, New Hampshire seeing some sun. That sun tries to make some headway. Even Portland will probably see a little bit of sun just before it goes down tomorrow evening. And then Sunday's the day to clean up. Sunday's going to be great. It's going to be a beautiful day to end out the weekend. So tomorrow's a weather-worn day, of course, for wind. It's primarily wind. Might get some late day sunny breaks, but look for a lot of sun on Sunday. Monday, some more rain moves in. Wind's not an issue with that. It's not a hurricane or anything. In the extended forecast, we have a lot of sun next week, and it looks like September for a change. We should be in the 70s and overnight lows in the 40s. So let's back up again here for a minute, and looks like a bunch of you are on here still, and maybe I can answer some of your questions, and we can kind of go through what to expect for tomorrow. Thanks again for joining us today. I have to find the comments section here. A lot of you folks are just coming in now and just checking, just typing your questions. So we'll see what we have here. Oh, you're welcome, Michael. Hello to you. Lisa says, thank you. You're very welcome, Lisa. Hey, Pete. Yes, I do have to shave every day. Not on the weekends, though. I did shave today. Thank you. That's funny. Commercial break. Kelly says, hope my sunflowers and pumpkins make it through. Sunflowers, I'm going to say no go. Pumpkins, you'll be all right. I was thinking that. I was looking at my pumpkins today out in the pumpkin patch, and they're not going anywhere. They're heavy enough. They're just going to stay there. Leaves, they can blow over. It's the end of the season. Who cares? I bet we'll have some good surfers tomorrow. I'm going to go check that out tomorrow. Actually, we're going to send a reporter, I think, and a photographer. We'll go get that, I'm sure. That's the kind of wave damage that Portland had. No. Okay. So James, you're referring to the December 23rd storm. Now, I don't think we're going to get waves like that. Well, we will get waves like that day, but we're not going to get the astronomical high tide. The key to the December 23rd storm is we had an astronomical high tide. I think it was around 11 feet, a little over 11 feet. And then you had the wave action on top of that. The wave action tomorrow is going to be an astronomical low tide. It's only 9.4 feet. So I don't think we're going to get the action that we saw at Portland Headlight like we did on December 23rd. You're going to get some pretty good waves and splash over, but hopefully it doesn't blow in the windows and the doors like it did that day. I'd be very surprised if it does tomorrow. Yeah, the sunset was great, wasn't it, Klein? Yeah, we'll have to find that sunset again. Let's take a look at it. Almost. There it is. No, there it is. That's what it looked like, Klein. It was gorgeous, right? Hello, Barbie. How are you? Yeah, nobody wants those big waves. I think we're going to get those sets of waves. That's possible tomorrow. Yeah, that's certainly a setup that we could see a set of waves that's a lot bigger than most sets, than most of the waves. We saw one of those rogue waves happen with a bystander up at, I think it was Thunder Hole up in Acadia a few years ago, and it didn't end well. So you got to be careful in these sort of setups. Will there be flooding? Biddeford Pool, splash over. There could be some minor coastal flooding. This is not a big flooding event. You're not going to get a lot of water coming inland or anything like that. You will get a lot of splash over, though, tomorrow. And a lot of beach erosion, too, I think. I think when we see the beaches at low tide on Sunday, you probably notice some differences. Yeah, all right. Sunday is looking nice. I agree with you. Sunday's going to be great, Kimberly. You're very welcome, Sean. Travis is in Interior York County, but you have another question. I'll find it. Hold on. As of this morning, when Christian was live, power outages were only scattered, not widespread. I don't know if they're going to be widespread. I think we will get power outages, but I don't know. I don't know how many we'll get. I think most towns will get power outages. I guess you could call that widespread. Scattered to widespread. Maybe, my guess, around 150,000. I don't know. Just throwing a number out there. And what did I say? 180,000, I think. I was talking to some friends in the newsroom. We always try to guess these things. I'm really bad at it. I got it once, though. I think I hit it pretty close within 1,000. But yeah, 180,000. I'm going to go 180,000. We'll see. I think the last one, I think the December one, I predicted like 200,000, and we ended up with like 400,000. It was, yeah. That December. No, wait a minute. No, that wasn't. I was thinking of the October storm. That's the one. So I never would have thought that that October storm would have more power outages than the ice storm in '98. Ice storm in '98, we had 300,000. So yeah. Yeah, Christian's on it, I think. Christian was on it this morning. He did a good job. Cadillac Mountain. Yeah, good day to drive up, James. If you like weather, I can't imagine they'll be open to drive up, will they? They'll probably close it tomorrow, right? The Waterboro area. Yeah, you'll get gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. Not much rain in Waterboro, though, Sonia. Not much rain there, Pete. Yeah. What should we expect? OOB. Oh, you're very welcome, Pamela. OOB can expect big waves. I don't think you're going to get coastal flooding there. But you will get gusts probably peaking around 50 miles per hour. That's my guess. Somewhere around there. 45 to 50, somewhere in there. That's the forecast track of the storm right there in Naples. Everybody wants their town. Hello, Don. Naples, you will get gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. And you're not going to get much rain there. A good chunk of the day may end up being dry. Excuse me. Again, I blame the kids. Got the cold from the kids. Yeah, I should grab some water, right, Pete? Up the hill, Tanya says. I bet she has another question. Oh, up on a hill here. Okay. Yeah, up on a hill, you're going to get stronger winds. You get an elevation, no question about it. Absolutely. I think you're going to get some stronger winds in elevation, especially if it faces north and northwest. All right, Brandon, good advice here. Stay safe out there. I like it. Reedfield always gets high. Yeah, you get a lot of hills out there in Reedfield too. Yeah, and especially central Maine to mid-coast Maine, that whole area gets hit hard. When's the wind going to hit Parsons Field? When's the wind going to hit Parsons Field? Tomorrow morning, it's going to start 6, 7 a.m., somewhere in there. How windy do you think it will get on top of the rock pile? Don says. I don't know. I have no. You know what? I haven't even forecast up on the rock pile for today. It's going to get over 100. I'm going to go with 118. I'm going 118. No, I'm going 122. How's that? Yeah. Well, hopefully CMP keeps us going tomorrow. We'll see. There will be outages. I don't know how many, but there'll be outages. Even yesterday I was thinking, 40 to 50. And the more and more I think about it, I was just watching the trees today. Like, yes, those trees, they're all foliated. We're going to have some trouble tomorrow. I think tomorrow will be, I don't know how many we're going to get, but I think it's over 100,000. When's when going to hit Brunswick? Tomorrow morning, it's going to start 6 o'clock in the morning. How's that? Somewhere around there, Robin. Carrie, yes, we are very busy, but we're having fun. This is what we do. I like storms. I like snowstorms better, but nobody likes power out. Nobody likes trees falling, but that's what we have. Let's see. Jason has here. Hey, he's not ready for this. Well, go charge up the batteries and the cell phones and things like that. You'll be in good shape. We'll get through it. We're resilient. We can handle this. Let's see. Trees. Trees are already rocking in Saco, Dave. Hey, David, how are you? Yeah, I bet. Yeah, the winds are already starting to pick up. Yeah, wait until you wake up tomorrow morning. It's going to be a little windier there up in Saco. Sunday does look great, Denise. I'm with you. The 6-year-old loves the sun. All right, let's bring the sun back. All right, this is the graphic that I think Kayla is referring to. Hello, Kayla. Here's our storm. Look at that. Let's just look at this again. Look at the western edge get eaten up by all the nice dry air we have in there right now. So we're not getting much rain. Storm's already looking pretty ragged for a hurricane. I don't know. Where's the sun? Come on, it's coming up here. There it is. Well, tell your 6-year-old thank you for watching, Kayla. I appreciate that. I like that. Let's leave it on that graphic for a while. At least it's not snow. I'm with you. Yeah. I was looking at the records. Um, on Facebook, I posted this picture the other day. It's a picture of my friend Bill and I. We skied it was 2012, 2002. So it was 21 years ago, 3 days ago. It was September 12th. I was working at the Mount Washington Observatory as a weather observer, and one of my friends and we decided to go skiing. I think they got like 10 inches of snow or 8 inches of snow, whatever it was, but it was all drifted snow. And we skied down the auto road a little bit and came back and did another ski run. It was fun. And we thought we were the first in New England to ski that year. It was September 12th, 2002. And then we saw in the news, before social media, of course, that somebody at Killington had skied before us. So like, oh, we thought we were the first in New England. Oh, well. Sunday's great, Jamie. You're going to love it. No problem, Sunday. How bad is Oxford County going to get? You'll get outages, Jenny. I think you will. Probably 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. The thing about Oxford County is there's some areas that get what we call downsloping winds here. So on the east side of some of the mountain ranges here, you get some enhanced winds in these spots right here. So I think there will be some spots that probably do get some gusts over 50 miles per hour. So there'll be some localized spots. If you live in one of those areas, then you probably know what I'm talking about. Kyle's in Eastport. Yeah, that's going to be a fun day, huh? Oh, boy. Hope you keep power, Kyle. Time is the storm hitting Maine. The winds will ramp up steadily overnight, Andrew. And I think by morning, you'll notice the wind probably gusting around 40 miles per hour already, or over 40 in some cases. So, yeah, it's kind of a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. storm. I think our strongest winds are late morning. That's my guess. But yeah. Melissa. Compared to nor'easters. Maine's got this. A little wind, nothing compared to ice storm. I'm with you. Yeah. Nobody wants an ice. The ice storms are my least favorite kind of storm. Yeah. We can handle this. We're going to get outages, though. How bad in Sanford? All right. We're looking at winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour in Sanford. Marjorie. Will Quebec see? That's funny. A lot of CMP. We had that in the news. CMP trucks headed north from Saco. We had that in the news tonight. Oh, well, my mom's checking in. Hey, Mom. All right. 20 to 22 miles per hour. All right. I'm glad the old weather station is working well. I just installed a new weather station at my mom's house. Thanks for the report, Mom. Okay. Okay, Tanya's. Yeah. All right. I'm just checking these comments as I see them for the first time here. So keep it clean, everyone. Not bad for Southern Maine. I'm with you on that. Yeah. Oh, Carl wants a hurricane. All right. Yeah. I've seen a lot of misinformation out there, right? There's a lot of, even a local newspaper. I saw a tweet today about the hurricane making landfall in Maine. I was like, what? Hurricane's not making landfall in Maine, is it? We haven't had a landfalling hurricane in New England since August 19th, 1991. No, a lot of misinformation out there. But the effects are similar. We're just on the edge of this hurricane that's becoming post-tropical or extratropical. It's a technicality, but we're not getting a landfalling hurricane unless something dramatically changes over the next 24 hours. But yeah, surprised to see a lot of that. But we'll get our respectable wins. Hey, we get this storm 3 months from now, no big deal. Now that there are leaves on the trees, it's a big deal. Yeah, we saw what those October storms do. We just can't handle it around here. The electric grid just can't handle it. Yeah, just like James says, the power crews from Arkansas just arrived. Good for them. All right, that's what we're gonna need. We need everybody hands on deck. All the power crews. Pink sky at night, sailor's delight. Yeah. It was a beautiful sunset. I'm with you. Good evening. Oh, hello, Brandon. Good evening. What about the trees? I think some trees will come down, Robin. Northerly exposure to trees will be the worst. And the ground's a waterlogged too. So, especially weak trees, weak limbs. I always have a hard time predicting, what trees will go down too. But yeah, I feel pretty confident we'll get 40 to 50 mile per hour winds with some gusts over 50. I think peak gusts will get over that for a lot of areas. Da, 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 da. Hello from Sabatis, Stacy says. Hello. Hello to you. We aren't getting it. Oh, Crystal says we aren't getting it. Oh, I think you are going to get it, Crystal. If you live in Maine, you're going to get it. Oh, maybe you're asking about the direct hit. We're not getting a landfalling hurricane, no, but we're on the edge of a hurricane becoming post-tropical. We'll go through this again in a second. But yeah, thanks for checking in. Good question. Good. We don't need any more rain, Tanya says. Yes, we've had a lot of rain. We're not getting much rain with this one. If you live west of Penobscot Bay. Oh, all right, Jeffrey. Thanks. I think I do need to try this. Lemon juice and honey in a spoon will get rid of the coughs manageable. All right. We're going to work on that. You know who would always help me out with this? Kim Block. When Kim was working here for all those years, and I was working here for a small segment where she was here, of course. But she would always say, Charlie, if we've got tea and honey with warm water, perfect. I was thinking of her last night. Actually, I was just talking with her or texting with her the other night as well. About the storm. Kim is a very big weather enthusiast, as many of you know. So I think she's excited for the storm too. But she would always help me with if I had a cough or losing my voice, because she was really good at that. So we could use a little Kim Block around here for that help. But thank you for the advice there, Jeffrey. I appreciate it. Nothing beats the ice storm in like 1998. Yeah, that wasn't good. I was at Sugarloaf for that storm. I remember we got a lot of sleet at Sugarloaf. It was 50 degrees on top of the mountain and 20s at the bottom. That was in 1998. Yes, it was. Good evening from Rangeley. Hello, Kim. Charlie watching from Colorado. Robin says, hello. All right. Everybody's checking in tonight. I like it. Let's go all the way back down. Well, I'm sure we have some new questions. We have a lot of questions tonight, guys. All right. Damerscott is checking in. Nova Scotia. How much rain? I don't know how much. Good question. I haven't really forecast for Nova Scotia, but the storm's heading right up that way. More rain should be on the western side, I bet. Huh? All right. Everybody's giving me good cough advice. Thank you. Yes, hot water, lemon juice, honey will help the sore throat. Huh? Thank you very much. Yeah, we all miss Kim. Kim's great. Oh, you got 4 inches in the last storm. Wow. All right. We got a lot of rain. Yeah, that's even just the other day. Some areas got 3 inches of rain. That was 2 days ago. Time's the rain going to start? Let's go through that. Let's go through the rain. Ashley, good question. The thing about the rain is not everybody's going to get it. Like a good chunk of the day is going to be dry. The atmosphere is very, very dry right now. So some of that rain gets in here before daybreak tomorrow. And in fact, let's try to back this up. Oh, that's not what I want to do. All right, let's just stop it there. 7:30. You're seeing a little bit of rain out there, but the heaviest rain is probably going to be in this corridor, points east. So down East Maine, we'll get all the heavy stuff. In parts of Western Maine, we'll probably end up getting a little bit of late day sun. That's how it looks. And then full sun returns on Sunday. So that's when the good stuff arrives here. I'm going to take this and go back for a second. Oh, we can go through the timing of some of the wind if you want. This is 7 a.m. It's already windy. And I think peak gusts will be late morning. This is 11 o'clock or so. We're near 50 miles per hour, gusting to around 60 over toward Mid-Coast Maine. And that's definitely enough for some outages. We're going to get some outages with that kind of wind. And notice those of you up towards Augusta, you're right around 50 miles per hour, a little over 50 at 2:30. Take it with a grain of salt. This is one forecast model, but I think it has a general idea on the timing of how it's going to go down. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And this is just an estimate as well right here for wind. There'll be some locally higher amounts. I mentioned earlier, even the south side of Sebago Lake, like Standish, for instance, you get a fetch off of the lake. You could get some stronger winds there. You get over toward Cape Elizabeth, you get some stronger winds there as well. So yeah, because the wind comes off of Casco Bay out of the north. So anywhere there's a northern exposure, get an elevation. Oh, the one and only, she's here. She is here. All right, we're just talking about you, Kim. I wonder if you heard of that. Kim is checking in tonight, everybody. Everybody say hello to Kim. Yeah, Kim texted me the other night. Apparently, I missed her comment the other night. So I'm glad I found it tonight. We miss you too, Kim. And I was just commenting to the folks that I appreciated when you were here. We always had tea with honey available in the break room for people who were losing their voice and had a cough like myself. So I thank you for all those years for that. But hope things are well with the family and have fun with the storm, Kim. All right. Kim showing up tonight. Everyone's here. This is great. What about the winds? Yeah, here we are with the winds, Donna. Yeah, winds are 40. All right. So here's a kind of just a graphic, a quick contour graphic. But as we know, in Maine, we can't just make even contours because what's going to happen? A few things. You're going to get, I could put a contour right there, or I could put a contour right in here, and I could put 100 to 130 miles an hour. But that's just not going to work, right? Because there's a 6,000 foot mountain there, and you're going to get Mount Washington's going to get over 100. There'll also be some spots up in here downsloping that get into probably some 50 miles per hour, 50 to 60. I wouldn't be shocked to see Portland even get a few gusts a little over 50 miles per hour. Not much higher than 50, I don't think, though. But I think Augusta probably gets over 50 miles per hour just because of the way that the airport's set up there. But yeah, that's how that works. We'll see how it pans out. The real interesting thing about tomorrow usually is when we forecast these winds. I wish I had a graphic to explain this. But when we forecast these winds in the winter time, for instance, we're usually getting a nor'easter where the winds are out of the northeast. There's this thing called the marine inversion usually that comes in off the wind comes in off the ocean. And a lot of times you can't tap into some strong winds above you because the way the atmosphere is set up thermally. So the winds stay in the lowest levels of the atmosphere and you can't really tap into some strong winds aloft. That goes out the window when the winds are off the land on a day like tomorrow, and especially since some drier air is moving in. So we should be able to tap into any wind that's probably up to about 2,000 to 3,000 feet in elevation. So theoretically, I think there'll be about, I was looking 50 to 55 knots at about that level, at least in Portland. And that wing should mix down to the ground level. So that's why I think even Portland will probably gust around 50 miles per hour. And that's probably late morning. That's my guess. So tomorrow's a much different setup than a nor'easter for that reason. It's all has to do with wind direction. You'll be able to mix wind from above 3,000 feet down to the ground level. And you can't do that during our nor'easters. And that's because of the thermal setup coming in off of the ocean. And we'll revisit that as we get some of those storms this winter. But, there's these low-level jets. I think the low-level jet in Portland's 70, 75 knots tomorrow, and it's like 4,000 feet in elevation. So we're not going to be able to tap into that. I'd be very shocked if we did. But it just shows you there's some stronger winds aloft. Don't have to see what kind of wind can transfer down to the ground level. We should be able to transfer some of that up to maybe 2,000-3,000 feet or so. Hope that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, Shannon. A lot of rain this summer, right? We don't need any more rain. The ground is saturated. Yeah, that could cause some problems. Root balls can go over pretty easily when the ground is saturated like this. That's not good. What about Central Maine weather on Saturday? Yeah, Central Maine weather on Saturday. You'll get some rain and wind. I think parts of Central Maine will get some gusts over 50 miles per hour, Alice. I plan on some outages in Central Maine, especially the hillier terrain. There's a lot of hills in that area. I don't know what part of Central Maine you're talking about, but especially northern exposure hills, you'll get some problems there, I think. Hello there, Dottie. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for checking in tonight. How's the fly fishing forecast? Joshua. Oh, that sounds nice. I want to go fishing. Bob was fun. Yes, you're talking about Hurricane Bob, August 19th, 1991. Most of the damage from that storm was actually back on the west side of Sebago Lake. I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, I remember Bob very well. I was a young, aspiring meteorologist at that time. I had a fun time that day. My job doesn't care. Can I get an excuse note? Sorry. Wish I could help out with that. I have to come into work too. So yeah, no, we'll make it fun tomorrow. Chris doesn't like when your wife doesn't like it when I mention snow. All right. We won't mention snow tonight. How's that? Just rain and wind. Please thank your wife for watching though, Chris. Thank you. I'm in Houston. I work till 6 a.m. Will I have time to clean up my yard in the morning? Oh, Samantha, clean up in the morning. I'm in Houston. I work till Holton. Okay, you're in Holton. I work till 6 a.m. We'll have time to clean up my yard in the morning. Oh, before like take the chairs and put those away and the deck furniture and that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's already pretty windy. I think it's already getting kind of. You probably will. You probably have time. Just get out there and put them away when you get in there. When you get home in the morning. But yeah, the earlier the better. I think that's a good idea. I thought you said Houston. I'm starting to. I think I've been talking too long. That's my excuse at least. This is Maine. We should get used to it. You're right, Diane. We're resilient. We can handle this, right? It's a little wind. Get some outages. Be in the dark for a night. We'll be in good shape, right? Yeah, sunset was beautiful. I'm with you, Kimberly. Never trust mainstream media. They only put out narrative they want. No. I wonder who you're talking about, Mandy. Yeah, sometimes it was funny. I was watching, if you watch the Weather Channel, they'll talk about New England and then New England stops at Boston. You ever see that? Like, no, there's Maine, there's New Hampshire, Maine beyond there, and there's Vermont too. How bad's Farmington going to be? Farmington, you'll get some gusts 40 to 50, I think, in Farmington. Not a lot of rain though. Dean, Hurricane Bob was pretty bad. Yeah, imagine getting a major hurricane. Hurricane Bob was bad enough, right? Last major hurricane we had in New England was August 31st, 1954, and that was Carol. You know what happened 2 weeks later? We got another hurricane. It was Hazel, and then and then Etna hit too after that. So Carol, Etna, and then Hazel. That's it. We'll get it straight. Carol, Etna, Hazel. But they were 2 weeks apart. Imagine getting hit with a full-fledged hurricane, not this edge of a hurricane thing, like a full-fledged hurricane. Center comes right up the gut. And then 2 weeks later, you get another one. That would be crazy. But it happened. Happened in 1954. All right. I think I answered all those questions. Did I get them all? There's some more down here. Hold on. What will Standish get for wind and rain? Not much rain, Mike. I think in Standish area, you might get 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. Not much rain at all. But Standish is one of those spots on the south side of the lake. You get that winds will probably could become enhanced off of the lake. So I think you have a better chance for getting widespread outages south of Sebago Lake than you would maybe on the north side, excluding some of the hills and like Raymond and things like that. So yeah, good question. Actually, I have pegged Standish for one of those areas to have more widespread outages. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's just because the way the lake's set up, you're more of a fetch of a northerly wind coming in off the lake. Your weather. Patrick says your weather will clearly be the exact same as the city directly beside your city. Yeah, maybe. I don't I don't know what you're referring to. You must be referring to this graphic. This is just an estimate, Patrick. Yeah. Yeah. Just try to highlight the times more than anything. 11:30, gusting upper 40s to near 50 miles per hour. Look at Rockland. This must be what you're referring to. Yeah, it's not going to be exact. It's close, though. I think that's pretty close. It's run off of a forecast model, Patrick. Yeah. Thanks for checking in. I see the storm as an adventure. It sure is. Let's take a look at the latest information of the storm. Why not? It's already 8:30. You guys are sticking around for a while here. Still a bunch of people on here. Thank you. Here's the latest info on the storm. It's 80-mile-per-hour winds, trucking along. It's got its running shoes on. It's moving fast. 20 miles per hour. And the storm is located about 370 miles to our southeast. And it's located 470 miles south of Nova Scotia. And we talked about this at the beginning. It's already looking pretty ragged. I don't know if I'd be very shocked if it's a hurricane up here. I think it's post-tropical up there or extratropical. I don't know. The Hurricane Center is a way of, I don't want to rag on the Hurricane Center, but I think that since it's forecast to be a tropical cyclone still up here, they may just keep it a tropical cyclone up there. We'll see. But look at this. Does that look like a hurricane to you? Doesn't, does it? Looks more like a nor'easter now. Almost. It's undergoing that process, at least. It's starting to transition from a warm core system to a cold core system. And it's going, the wind field's expanding, the rain shield's expanding. It's acting a lot more like a northern latitude storm. So yeah, that's what happens. It is an adventure, though. Any chance we miss this altogether? Glenn says, no, sorry, Glenn. We're on the edge of it, no matter what. You might miss the rain. You have that going for you. It's just it's gonna be windy. That's the big thing. When's the wind gonna start? It's gonna ramp up overnight. Let's see, Shauna. It looks like the wind will start cranking over 40 miles per hour, 6-7 a.m. So as soon as early morning for a lot of towns, and probably peaks late morning, depending on where you are. Maybe a little bit later up into central Maine and mid-coast Maine. So yeah. All right. I think I already answered that. Yeah, I think Stephanie, I think Westbrook will be very similar to Portland. We'll get gusts probably 40 to 50 miles per hour. You might get a peak gust slightly higher than that. But yeah, I think we're not going to get a ton of rain either in Westbrook. So good question. No, it doesn't look like a hurricane, does it? I don't know. I wonder if the reason they don't call it post-tropical is because it screws up the headlines. Like right now we have a tropical storm. That's the other thing that's kind of weird. There's a tropical storm warning in effect. Notice I didn't show it tonight. There's a tropical storm warning in effect. And I think that's to showcase, the wind. Everybody's been talking about the name. It's Lee and everything. But technically, a tropical storm warning means you need sustained winds. You're expecting sustained winds of 39 miles per hour to 73 miles per hour. And sustained winds of that high on land, probably 0% chance, maybe 2% chance. I don't know. The Hurricane Center did that with Isaias too a few years back. So, and I questioned it back then, but now I think they just do it to kind of get the word out. I think what happened, my guess is when Sandy hit, if you remember what happened with Sandy, it was a hurricane. And just before it made landfall, it became post-tropical. And that's why we call it Superstorm Sandy. It technically was not a hurricane. So the Weather Service at the time took all the headlines off, the hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings, and changed it to a high wind warning. So what happened was the residents in New York and where it hit didn't take it seriously. So they all stayed. And then that's when all the problems happened. So I think going forward, the idea was that, okay, any tropical system, whether it's post-tropical, extratropical, they're going to keep the hurricane headlines going, whether it's a tropical storm warning. But even the tropical storm warning makes no sense to me. And we'll get gusts 39 to 73 miles per hour. We're not going to get sustained 39 to 73 miles per hour. There's something I'm missing there. Or it's just another weird thing that we do in our society. I don't know. I think it's probably the second. We do a lot of weird things. I think that's what we're doing. But yeah, it's like the second or third time we've done that. I think there was Isaias. There's one other storm. Like, what are we doing here? But regardless, though, we're going to get some strong winds. No, it doesn't. Oh, it's already Patty says it's windy in Biddeford. Oh, I was talking about Travis's comment. It doesn't look like a hurricane, does it? No. Oh, Amanda's just joining. Okay, we'll get you filled in. Actually, now might be a good time to fill everybody in. We have Hurricane Lee is looking pretty ragged right now. We are going to let's go to the animation. Notice a storm. Still hurricane tomorrow morning. Expected to be at least 7 a.m. Power outages expected. Frequent gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. Peak wind gusts may get over 50 in some areas. Waves 10 to 20 feet. Want to highlight first the dry air getting filtered in on the west side of this. So rain is not going to be an issue, especially up your way, Woodstock, Bethel area. You'll get some wind. Some of those areas you get in the valley there, the Androscoggin Valley, especially there, Amanda, that northerly component to the wind and northwest wind downsloping off the mountains, you can get some pretty strong winds there. So I think you'll get some power outages. So I prepare for that, Amanda. That's 7 o'clock in the morning. The storm, post-tropical, probably midday, afternoon, even if it's analyzed as a tropical system, it's probably really not. But anyway, it's moving up into the Bay of Fundy and pulling away. And then the sun returns for Sunday. In fact, those of you, especially in Bethel, western areas, you'll probably see some late day sun tomorrow. I think you will. Yeah. How much rain in Rockport? I don't know. It's a good question. The closer you get to Penobscot Bay, the greater chance you have for getting over an inch of rain. And I'll tell you, it looks like, Jim, there's going to be a sharp cutoff somewhere in here, somewhere across Midcoast Maine, where we go from really no rain at all or very little rain to over an inch of rain. So that's something to watch there, Jim. Yeah, this is not a huge rainmaker, at least for southern and western Maine. Different scenario for those of you over toward Penobscot Bay, Jim. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, Eric, I'm with you. Absolutely. Do you think the recent rain is enough to cause problems with with uprooting and breakage of large limbs with the wind? Yes, I think that is it's going to play a big role in this. Yeah, because the roots are with a soft ground like this, like in the October storm. They can go over easily. It's a much different scenario, especially when the ground's frozen. It's a lot easier to hold back on the outages. Hey, we get winds like this in a couple months, we're in good shape, but we can't handle it now. We can't handle a 40-mile-an-hour wind. We have trouble. We get power outages with like 30-mile-an-hour winds sometimes. Joseph, the next hurricane. Oh, you're talking about Nigel. Yeah, the next hurricane is forming. I don't think it got a name yet. I don't even think it's a tropical storm yet. I got to look at that. But yeah, Nigel, there'll be another big hurricane that follows in the footsteps of Lee. And next week we'll have Nigel. Those of you that are Spinal Tap fans, Greg and I are always commenting Spinal Tap quotes. But yeah, I know the Saffir-Simpson scale only goes so high, but I don't think it goes to 11. But yeah, the next name is Nigel. And it's going to be a big storm, but that one should curve out to sea. I think it will anyway. You know what's remarkable about this storm? Even last week, the forecast was very, very accurate. I remember thinking late last week, the storm's either going right up into the Bay of Fundy or western parts of Nova Scotia, the center. And that's exactly where it's going. I mean, the forecasts for these hurricanes are getting very, very accurate now. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. What are the chances we lose power? I'm going 76.8%. I like just making up numbers sometimes, but I think that's what I told my kids. So we have a 76.8% chance of losing power. But I guess it depends on where you are. Oh, wow. You're working outside tomorrow, Matt. That sounds awesome. Yeah, bring a kite. That sounds cool. Tomorrow might not be a bad day to work outside if you don't mind wind. It's going to be it's going to be a little, I don't think we're going to get a lot of rain. There'll be a little bit of rain here and there, especially over western zones. Late in the day, you'll get some late day sun. Casco, yeah, you get 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. Wind's the big story in Casco again. Glenn says nothing storm. Yeah, well, it's a storm. It's a windstorm, Glenn. How much rain in Clinton? I don't think we're going to get a lot of rain. Yeah, it's hard to say. I'll show you there you go. That's just an estimate, but down East Maine, there'll be some spots that get 2, 3, 4 inches of rain over extreme eastern parts of the state. Shauna says, when's the wind going to start? I already answered that question, didn't I? Sorry about that. Clicked on you twice. Probably it's ramping up overnight, and you really notice it in the morning, I think. 6, 7 a.m. It really starts to ramp up. Sydney, tornadoes. Nah, no tornadoes in this one. Be surprised to see that. Auburn wind, Christine says. Probably 40 to 50 miles per hour. Peak gusts may get slightly over that, but I think we're probably talking about frequent gusts over 40. That's probably about the same. You guys asked the same question. You guys are neighbors. Molly, let me introduce you to Christine. Auburn wind, and what are we looking at? Lewiston? Pretty much the same, I think. Yeah, so you probably didn't see each other's comments there. But yeah, winds 40 to 50 with potentially some gusts over 50. Wind gusts in Portland. I don't know. I think the peak wind gust is probably going to be, I'm going to go 50. I want to say around 50, somewhere in there. Yeah. 50 miles per hour. 50, 51. Just a guess. I always underdo it. It's probably going to be a lot higher. There was the October storm where we hit 61. I thought we were out of the water. I got up early and it's 6:30 in the morning. We'd gone through the whole night of 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. And all of a sudden, just like that, we had one gust of 61 miles an hour. And then next thing you know, we had 400,000 customers without power. I think we had forecast winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. And the peak wind gusts got to 61. Like, oh, we just missed it. Oh, well. All right. Brandon says, I had a great time. There was a pizza party from Happy Halloween. Wow. All right, Brandon. A little pizza action. That's what I like to hear. I'd go for a pizza right now. Of course, we know where Fayette, Maine is, up in central Maine. Absolutely. Yeah, you'll get some gusts probably in the upper end of the 40 to 50 there, Lori. Yeah, thanks for checking in from Fayette. Yes, I've been through Fayette a bunch of times. Hello, Walter. What about Clinton? Yeah, Clinton, you'll get some gusts 40 to 50, I think, as well. Not much rain up your way, though. Brittany, hello. Up in Allagash. No, you're not going to get as much wind up that way. You probably get some gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour up in Allagash. That's my guess. So is Portland in the... I see. Yeah, let's take a look at the map. I think we get the thing with Portland, I think we get frequent gusts over 40 miles per hour, but you might get a peak gust just over 50. I actually did something very specific when I made this map here. I tried to put Portland proper in the 40 to 50, but notice I put Cape Elizabeth right there in the 50 to 60, just because off of Casco Bay, a northerly component to the wind. So yeah, you might get a few stray gusts that get a little bit higher than that in a few spots, but yeah, I think you might get, what I say, 51, something like that. That's your peak gusts in Portland, somewhere in that range, 40 to 50 frequent gusts. So yeah, but Portland, I think I specifically put Portland proper in 40 to 50, but I wouldn't be shocked to get a peak gust, maybe just a little bit higher than that in a few spots. Will South Portland lose power? I don't know. It depends. I bet you will. I bet there'll be some spots in South Portland that do. Not in the ocean, Leanna. Not a good day to go out in the boat tomorrow. Maybe in the pond. It's going to be windy, though. I don't know. Acton, Maine wind gusts, 40 to 50 miles per hour, Sabrina. Wells, kind of more of the same for you. You got big waves in Wells there, Pam. Yeah, you'll get 10 to 20-foot waves. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, you'll get this. You're not going to get a ton of rain either. Everybody keeps on asking questions. A lot of great questions. It's the longest Facebook Live I've ever done anything. Maybe we should wrap it up. But before we do that, why don't we just go through the timings? I know there are a bunch of people just joining. Quick look at the storm, looking kind of ragged right now. It's undergoing that post-tropical transition at this point. Storm still looks like it's going to track right up into the Bay of Fundy. But we've been talking about it all week. Where's it going to track? Where's it going to track? That makes zero, I think, zero change in our forecast if it tracks, 25 miles in a different direction. We're not talking about a hurricane anymore. We're talking about a storm that acts a lot differently, like a northern latitude storm that's going to bring wind a lot farther away from the center of the storm, 100 miles out. So that's why we're on the edge of this powerful storm still, but it's not a true tropical system anymore. Treat it like a nor'easter, really. It's just rain and wind. We're not going to get much rain either. It's more the wind. It looks pretty ugly by morning and afternoon tomorrow, and it's pulling away tomorrow night. We're seeing some afternoon sun for western areas. It's right, the sun will shine. Even in Portland, I think the sun might try to poke out late in the day. Not much rain should be expected here. Mid-coast down east, you could get over an inch of rain, though. Wind gusts 40 to 50 for most areas, 50 to 60 for areas to the east. The exception, areas with a northerly fetch, like off of Sebago Lake, south side of the Lake Standish, perhaps, and also Cape Elizabeth, even Biddeford Pool. You get that northerly wind off of the water there. You could have some stronger gusts, those, and an elevation as well. You get over elevation, northerly exposures. That's where you're gonna have some problems with wind. Peak wind gusts, my guess, are late morning tomorrow. This is just an estimate of some of the gusts. And notice how it starts to calm down as we go into the evening hours. So this is pretty much an all-day thing as far as the wind goes. But by evening, I think we're starting to see some marked improvement. I want to show you one more. There's the buoys. Let's pass the buoys. We've already talked about the waves. Notice how that rain gets in here overnight. So overnight, we'll get some showers. And then a lot of it dries up. So these bands are drying up as they enter into our area because the dew points are so low. It's very, very dry. And we're seeing some of the heavy stuff moving to down east Maine, while parts of New Hampshire and western Maine are seeing some sun. Not bad, right? So it's a weird storm in the sense that it might not be raining for many areas, but it's going to be windy. And when it does rain for southern and western Maine, it'll be intermittent. You get a shower, stop. It will shower, stop. But the steady rain, the heavy stuff is going to be out here. Those of you from mid-coast and down east, that's where you get lit up with some heavy rain, 1 to 2 inches of rain over near Penobscot Bay, and heavier rain is expected even farther east. All right. We're going to leave it at that tonight. All right, folks. Well, let's just get this out of here. I already lost where I was doing. There we go. Thank you for checking in, guys. All right, so we'll leave it at that. All right, this is going to be a windy day tomorrow. We're pretty resilient Mainers, though. We'll get through it just fine. We're going to have more updates tonight. New information from the Hurricane Center is coming in at around 11 o'clock. We'll have that on CBS 1311. We'll have updates, of course, on Fox 23 at 10. All right, well, take care. Have a nice night, everyone.